Hi Tim, thank you for being here with us. You've been coming to Alivetaste for a long time already.
Very pleased to be here.
I would like to ask you if you can tell us a little bit about your connection with Portugal and what drew you to establish a strong relationship with us.
Well, with the country, it's very easy for me because I'm English. I studied in the UK all my life, and then when I finished my PhD, it was just at the end of the 1980s, and there was this wonderful opportunity to come to Portugal because there was this new initiative, a new faculty being brought up, and my wife, who I met in the UK, is Portuguese. And it just coincided coming over at that particular time, and I've never regretted it because it's been, I've seen things change, and I've been able to actually contribute in my own little way to certain changes as well in our particular areas. So no, it's been fantastic.
You've had an impressive career in both biotechnology and enology. And how do these areas intersect in your work?
Well, I don't do so much research nowadays in wine side, but really they're part of the same thing because wine is effectively we're just making, at one level we're making one liquid out of another liquid, and the way you make that liquid is through the microbial changes which are occurring. Of course, that's not what we're doing with wine. We're making magic out of base metals or base materials. And even though it's magic, and I admit that much of the actual reason we love wine is not to do with the science around it, the science is still very important. So I've always found it very interesting to conciliate these two things. I appreciate that wine is a wonderful historical, cultural artifact. It's massive industry, very important to many people, multifaceted. And the scientific aspects of it are a part, and they're not an unimportant part. I'm not one of these people who say it's the most important part, but so that's where I fit in the middle. From early on, I've understood that there's these two parts, and when I've been able to make these contributions which actually conciliate the two, it's been very happy.
So always in between the art and the magic of wine and the science behind it.
I think so. I'll give you an example. There's a very famous and important Portuguese grape variety called Touriga Nacional, and my team worked on identifying what makes Touriga Nacional specific, what makes it different in terms of its taste. So we could actually identify the molecules which gave it that particular taste. That doesn't make you want to buy the wine, but it gives the winemaker new tools, it gives the wine presenter new tools. So that's just an idea of how scientific activity can actually help the broader, more artistic, more artistic aspects of wine.
How do you see the evolution of wine, the future of wine in Portugal and in the world?
I think, of course, many of the factors of the evolution of wine are going to be felt across the world. The largest of which at the moment is, there's two, in fact, very, very large. One is, of course, climate change, which is affecting greatly, especially countries like Portugal, which is a hot country, having more difficulty actually getting its grapes to successfully ripen just to the rate that they want to ripen and well to produce good wines. And also there's the big problem now of people being concerned about consumption of alcohol. So there's two things, there's global problems, which Portugal doesn't necessarily suffer more than other countries. But Portugal's got its own space because it's got to, in that part of the market that still wants to buy wines, it's got to want to buy more Portuguese wines. So Portugal got its own challenges to promote the concept of Portugal, the wonderful country that it is, and its special wines. But there's lots of other countries doing the same thing, so that's the challenge Portugal has, sat on top of the other challenges which it also has.
So you see like new techniques appearing as well?
Yes, people are working all across the world to make wines which are lower alcohol and still very palatable and still people want to pay money for. People around the world are looking for new ways of making wines or growing vines against these climate challenges.
We have to adapt, right?
Absolutely.
And are you enjoying the Alivetaste events?
I always love the Alivetaste events. I think they're great. He's managed to really marry this, get people on board, get chefs excited, get the winemakers excited, and of course the people who are lucky enough and privileged enough to go and taste the wines and taste the beautiful food, eat the food, not taste it, eat the food, are the beneficiaries of this enthusiasm he's managed to get these two groups of people together.
And here we are trying one of the wines that are here presented today.
Lovely wine, your choice as well.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for suggesting it.
Lovely.
Okay?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Cool.